Welcome back. I'm John Ehrlichman. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk took to Capitol Hill this morning to make a push to enter the Pentagon satellite launch market, all while sitting next to his biggest competitor. Bloomberg's Yang joins us now from Capitol Hill. Yang, any sparks fly between the two rocket chiefs?
Yeah, you can certainly say that, John. Today we had Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, on Capitol Hill making the point that he wants to join the military and spy satellite launch program that the federal government has. It's a big market, and right now it's dominated by United Launch Alliance. Today, Musk said that he was vying for a table. He was sitting next to U.L.A.'s CEO Michael Gass before the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense. There he said that using SpaceX would save the federal government $1 billion in tax savings for taxpayers every year. And he did that while sitting next to his competitor and said that the current state of the market is unsustainable.
The Air Force and other agencies are simply paying too high a price for launch. The impacts of relying on monopoly providers since 2006 were predictable, and they've borne out. Space launch innovation has stagnated, competition has been stifled, and prices have risen to levels that General Shelton has called unsustainable.
At issue is the Air Force's EELV program, which stands for Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle Program. It's a $70 billion program that's the federal government's answer for reducing the cost of military satellite launches. Now, right now, that's dominated by United Launch Alliance because SpaceX, although it's trying to get a spot in that certification program, doesn't have the approval to do so, meaning that U.L.A. has for years held the monopoly. It's a joint venture between defense giants Lockheed Martin and Boeing. And today the CEO, Michael Gass, said that he doesn't think that breaking up that monopoly in the name of competition will really have that big of a payoff. Take a listen.
I believe there are important questions about how EELV competitions will be structured to ensure they are fair and open, and whether competition will actually save the savings that is promised. Ultimately, the central question is whether savings from competition will be sufficient to offset the cost of duplicating existing capabilities.
Luckily, that's a sentiment that's not shared by the Pentagon. They will later this year be opening up 14 more missions for new entrants like SpaceX to take a stab at entering that market. And John, lawmakers today seem to echo that sentiment as well.
Interesting. Any talk about Russia today? I know that he told our Rachel Crane it's embarrassing the U.S. has to thumb rides to Russia. Did that come up at all?
Yeah, in fact, it did. So one thing that Musk was sure to point out in his testimony was that United Launch Alliance, their rockets actually use an engine that is actually manufactured in Russia. So seizing on everything that's happening right now, seizing on the proposed economic sanctions, all of that, he made the point of saying that to him it's crazy that the United States would consider awarding millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts to United Launch Alliance, not opening up for competition when he at SpaceX, he is able to say that everything that they produce is actually made in the USA. So that was one point that he did capitalize on today. John?
So then, if we're thinking out a little bit, how long before SpaceX could join the military satellite program?
So that's still a bit up in the air right now, but Elon Musk was encouraged after today's hearing. He thinks that it's a good sign that lawmakers seem to be on board, seem to see things from his point of view, that we do need to have more competition, that it should lower costs in the long run. So that's still something to be determined. But right now it looks like as soon as October 1st, when the new fiscal year begins, we could see bids opening up. But before that can even happen, though, SpaceX will need to get certification, that EELV certification that it doesn't yet have. It got some good news last week when the Air Force announced that its launch of the Falcon 9 back in late September would actually count toward one of the 3 necessary launches to receive that certification. So that was a big move in the right direction, and that momentum was certainly something that he brought with him today on the Hill. So that's what we can say for now. And also one thing to point out is that this hearing, although it did end a few hours ago, isn't quite over. just yet, because it is the hearing that we'll keep on giving. One thing that the subcommittee chairman, Senator Dick Durbin, said in his remarks was that they were doing something a little bit unorthodox this time. They wanted both CEOs to submit questions, 10 questions that they want the other CEO to answer. So that's something that those responses will be coming in later. They'll be added to the record of this morning's testimony. So that's something that will be very interesting to look through in the days ahead. John?
No kidding, and also to find out in terms of how this affects their overall business. I know he was also talking about the success they've had in delivering cargo to the International Space Program. Yang, thank you very much. Yang joining us from Washington. As we